in 2 Peter, he says that you have to strive diligently to supply your faith with virtue, your virtue with knowledge, your knowledge with self-control, your self-control with patience, your patience with piety, and your piety with fraternal love, your fraternal love with charity. For if you possess these virtues, and they abound in you, they will render you neither inactive nor unfruitful in the knowledge of our Lord Jesus Christ. For he who lacks in them is blind, groping his way, and has forgotten that he is cleansed from his former sins. Therefore, brethren, strive even more by good works to make your calling and election sure. For if you do this, you will not fall into sin at any time. So he's saying that if we follow the ways of God and follow our faith, you can't just have faith. He says you have to have faith with virtue. So you have to strive to practice diligently virtue. So that requires your cooperation with God's grace. Of course, you need God's grace, but he gives us sufficient grace. He gives you sufficient grace to be able to attain heaven. So when you strive with virtue in your faith and your virtue with knowledge, so you feed that virtue with knowledge of the scriptures and knowledge of God and knowledge of the teachings of the church, your knowledge with self-control, so you don't only have to have knowledge, but you have to practice self-control and self-restraint, and self-control with patience, so you have to be able to be steadfast and wait for good things to come. So patience with piety. Piety is basically like religiosity. I guess a lot of people don't like the word religion, or like to, like say that they don't believe in religion, and that's totally fine, but piety is like religiousness and doing what is necessary to worship God. Your piety with fraternal love. So you can't just be pious and religious, you have to also love your neighbor. Fraternal love with charity. So charity, God is love, God is charity. That is the epitome of the Christian life, is love. And that's basically what he's saying here, is all faith has to lead up to perfect charity, and it does that through virtue, knowledge, self-control, patience, and piety, fraternal love. So those things are a recipe to attain charity, which is our ultimate goal. So if you are a Christian and you think that you don't have to do anything now that you're a Christian and you're saved or whatnot, you do have to do stuff. You have to cooperate with that grace. You have a duty, because if you do those things, St. Paul says, you will not sin at any time. That is a great insurance policy. So I would stick with this, and don't stray from the path. Don't go to different doctrines and to false teachings of various people. Don't go towards the ways of the world and the promises that the world offers you. Stick to what is in scripture. Stick to the teachings of the church, and you will not be lost. You will be saved. The reason why we have a religion, the reason why we have a Catholic Church, is for us to grow, to learn what we have to do to grow in holiness. It's not for rules' sake. It's not being like Pharisees and just wanting rules so that they could tell people what to do. It is to keep you in line in the good, narrow path to heaven. So it is a recipe for success to be pious and to be religious and to follow your religion. So don't think of religion as a bad thing. And if you do the things that religion actually tells you to do, then you're on the right path and that you can attain heaven. And it's not just by works. We need God's grace, but God gives us sufficient grace. He promised us he would give us sufficient grace. So yeah, that's all I have to say today. Bye.